Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. You are very welcome to the official launch of the Mercedes-AMG F1 W12 e-performance car. The machine in question is lying in wait just around the corner there. You will be the first to see it very shortly. But in the meantime, let's have a conversation with Toto Wolff ahead of the 2021 season. Here he comes, looking very well. How do we find you after the winter break? Refreshed?
Yeah, the break wasn't really long between the last race and the first is only 12.
How long did you actually have off? Did you even have a break?
Yeah, I had off around Christmas and the New Year, and that was really nice. I spent it with my wife Susie and my children, and really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well, as I said, you're looking well, but we're about to head into a new season. You'll be taking 7 titles on the bounce with you. That sounds like a team that has the experience to possibly make it 8.
Yeah, but we haven't even started the season yet. So
you hate looking forward, don't you?
Yeah, because this crystal ball doesn't work. You know, I keep looking in it, and it never predicts me the future. So you can't rest on your laurels. The last few years were tremendous, and we are very proud about that. But it all starts with 0 points for everybody, equal opportunity. And in that sense, we need to do the best in every session and every single day, and not look too far ahead and dream about titles.
I mean, how do you manage expectations, though, after all the success you've had? My expectations for Mercedes, they're up there as we head into this new season.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but within the team, all of us together with the drivers, we never have these expectations, because there is always some kind of skepticism whether we've done a good enough job over the winter. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but as a matter of fact, we always think that way. And we know that if we don't push ourselves every single day, we might fall back. And this is the sheer thought is scary.
Well, the car you've put together, it's a thing of beauty. You're going to see it very, very shortly. I noticed the silver is making a partial return with the AMG logo on the engine cover. It looks delightful. It's a beautiful looking car. You happy with it?
Yes, I'm happy with it. Obviously, the black livery that we had last year became an iconic livery, and we are very proud about the message of this livery and also how it looked. And this year, it's very similar as we will show, but there is the silver keeps sneaking back in, and at the end of the day, it's a silver arrow. That is our heritage, and we are proud of carrying that.
Valtteri and Lewis are your drivers once again this season. You're one of only 3 teams to retain both the same drivers. What are the advantages of that?
Stability is key in every team, and we work as a group collectively. We have 2 drivers that respect each other whilst racing each other hard out there. The development and the inputs that we get from both of them are very valuable for the team. And at the end, it just works. We love interacting with Lewis and Valtteri, and you can look back in the past, and it's been successful.
I dare say it'll be successful again in 2021. But saying that, at the end of the season, you will have no drivers. Valtteri and Lewis are out of contract. So, is that a problem for another day? Are you looking ahead? What are your thoughts?
I thought you're not asking the difficult question, but this is smooth sailing and presenting the car.
I'm evil, aren't I?
Yeah. So we need to, it's very simple, okay. The explanation. I think with Lewis, there was a particular media attention on our contract negotiations.
Just a bit.
And it's actually quite funny because him and me, we were so aligned. Whilst we were in the season, we just didn't have scope to talk to each other and spend enough time with each other to have that conversation. And then we thought about doing it between the 2 Bahrain races, and then he fell ill.
Yeah.
And then we both went into our holidays, and we talked through the holidays, and then I had COVID. So that is what it all delayed. And at a certain stage, because our conversations are really in a way partners discuss it, but it's down to the detail. And then we felt now we got to close this conversation. The season is right in front of us.
Yeah.
And we've been talking a lot about the future, about Lewis driving the car in the future, but also our partnership going forward. And we felt, let's discuss that during the year and find more time. And as for Valtteri, he's in the unfortunate situation that for the last few years it was one-year contracts. He functions really well with the pressure. He's the cool Finn that is able to hold that back. But 2022 is a completely new year with new regulations, and that's why we would just want to see how it pans out during the course of the year. But I must say I'm really happy, and the teams of engineers are really happy, and he deserves to be in a Mercedes.
You mentioned you had coronavirus. Everything okay? You get through it all right?
Yes, we were lucky enough to have no or mild symptoms.
Good.
And there's still some after symptoms. You know, you can't really train like you've done before, but it's all gonna pass. And lucky in the sense that many others suffered a great deal.
Good. I'm glad you're okay. Back to business. 23 races this season. How big a challenge will that be for the entire team, to maintain performance across such a dauntingly long year?
Especially the race team. So here in the factory in Brixworth and in Brackley, it's stressful all year. But it gets a little bit more of a quiet period during the spring. And having said that, they are also flat out. If you look up in the offices, everybody's knackered from the work. But the traveling itself with the jet lag is not trivial. You know that.
Yeah.
And imagine the drivers. So they're having all these factors to count in, and then they need to drive a car at the limit. And the mechanics that have to be there 5 or 6 days prior to the race, build up the garage, and then stay longer in order to take the garage down, whilst having the tough job to, the fiddling with small things that could cause a DNF for all of us. And they've performed under pressure, race after race. And the engineers that have a normal Monday to Friday job between the races. So our race debrief is usually on the Monday after every race. So everybody's quite under pressure.
It's not for the faint-hearted being involved in Formula One, is it?
No, but we are privileged. We have the best job in the world. We are involved in developing, producing, racing, engineering Formula One cars. Every time you're feeling a bit down or on a difficult day, you just have to remind yourself.
Fantastic. Toto, great talking to you. We will hear more from you a little bit later on. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Say hello to the W12.
Devise der letzten Stunden: Überleben, nichts mehr riskieren, ankommen.
And there it is, a thing of beauty, I'm sure you'll agree. Joining us now, the two men who will drive the W12, Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. Gentlemen, fabulous to see you. Really, really good to see you. Valtteri, how are you? How was your winter break?
Very good, thank you. Break was good, fully recharged, being healthy, been able to have a solid training program, and been working on myself, trying to be the best I can this year. And honestly, now seeing the car, just now the first thing in my mind is I just can't wait to drive it and can't wait to get back to racing.
Awesome. And you're absolutely in peak condition. Keeping an eye on social media, every time I see you, you seem to be on a bike. I feel like you've done a lot
not
of
always,
mileage.
sometimes on ski-doo or snowshoes or rally car, these kind of things. But No, I'm not at the peak yet. The thing is, we're not racing yet. And you know, in terms of physical point of view, F1 is quite different to many other sports. We have 23 races, and you kind of try to micro peak to each of those.
What lessons did you learn in 2020 that you're bringing to 2021?
A lot of lessons. Again, it's so much things in this sport that you learn about yourself, and the opportunities to be better driver each year if you take those on board. And I think the main thing over the winter and over the break with the processing and learning of things has been the self-honesty. So trying to really look into the details, that how I can be better, and that's ultimately the goal when I'm on the grid in Bahrain, to know that I've done everything I can to be at my physical and my mental best. And same thing, overall target is then to get to end of the year in Abu Dhabi and look back and say I did everything. Gave it all I had, and yeah, hopefully that will bring the results.
This will be your fifth season with Mercedes, and I swear, from the moment you've stepped into the cockpit in 2017, the wolves have been circling that seat. Are you ready to fend them off for another year?
Of course I am. You know, it's now my 5th year with the team, and actually, yeah, quite a few in Formula 1 already. So I have full focus on my own targets and the targets for us as a team and the people around me. So that's going to be the only thing on my mind.
Fantastic. Best of luck, Valtteri. Moving on to Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Sir Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion. How are you feeling?
Good. Just happy to be back and back in the factory and just ready to go, really. It's kind of, it always feels like a long break, even though they get shorter and shorter each year. But yeah, just excited for people to see the car, excited to see what it feels like when we finally get out in it.
Just, you know, the accolades, as I said, you know, a 7-time world champion, and you know, Sir Lewis Hamilton, and I keep thinking back to that little kid on Blue Peter with the remote control car, and my goodness, what a future that kid had and has. You know what I mean? Do you look back at the whole scope of what you've achieved?
Of course, definitely, and I think I was just talking to Toto. It's really about opportunity, and I was very, very fortunate when I was younger to have those experiences on BBC and really just my dad worked so hard, my family worked so hard to create an opportunity and a path for me to be able to excel. And so it's crazy to think that it's been so long. You know, I've been racing a long time. This is I think my 15th year in Formula 1. So yeah. It's hard to believe it's gone that fast, but so many amazing experiences, so many great relationships, so many things learned during that time. So I'm excited to kind of put everything that has been built each year and put it into the focus.
This is your 9th season with Mercedes, which means you've been kicking ass with them for almost a decade now. How do you feel about that?
Extremely proud. I think, you know, AMG was supporting me as well as Mercedes back when I was 13, and you know, it's amazing to have come along this whole journey with them. And you know, each year when we have the success, that car goes on to the road of evolution back in Stuttgart, and I'll always, you know, even beyond my time, that I'll always be a part of their road of history. So very proud of it and grateful for their you know, their belief in me all this time.
Let's get out of the way, because you're going to be asked it 1 million times over the course of the season. Why did you only sign with Mercedes for a year?
Well, I mean, firstly, I'm kind of in a fortunate position where I've achieved most of the stuff that I've wanted to achieve up until this point, and so there's no real need necessarily to plan too far ahead in the future. I think we're living in quite an unusual period of time in life, and I just wanted 1 year as a then we can talk about if we do more and keep adding it one if we have to.
So is that quite low down the priority list? I'm assuming your main focus for 2021 is to win an 8th title.
The main priority for 2021, in the past it was about just winning championships, but now it's really pushing for make real. You know, last year there was a lot of discussion about equality and inclusion, and I think there was a lot of talk. This year it's all about pushing for diversity and really making sure that action is taken. So that's kind of at the core of the drive for me. but of course we exist to win. So that's what all these guys here, guys and girls here, are working towards. And so that's my goal, is to deliver that for them.
Let's bring Valtteri back into the mix. What's it like being this man's teammate? Because, you know, he's an inspirational chap, but he's also, as a teammate, an absolute nightmare.
It's motivating, it's challenging for sure. And yeah, of course, you know, we're teammates, we're working as a team. But at the same time, no doubt, you know, when we put the racing helmet on, then it's time to race against each other. And we hate losing, we love winning. And naturally, when you're in the car, every time you try to beat everyone, including your teammates, because you're in the same car, and it's a good benchmark. But everything what Lewis has achieved in Formula One, obviously, that's now the best benchmark you can really get, and it motivates me. Of course, I'm more always focused on myself, because I feel like it's important to prioritize where you put your energy. So I really try to work in terms of my performance, how I can be better, basically have that topic on my head every single day. But yeah, it's an extra motivation. But yeah, you know, so far it's been really good working with Lewis, and I think we've been able to, with the teamwork we do, to really push to get the team forward. And because we know that, you know, if we want to keep winning titles, we need to team up and work together as well.
Would I be right in saying that Valtteri is probably up there, the top of the stack, your favourite teammate you've ever had?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the working relationship has been pretty special over these years, and I think it's down to, we've always talked about the respect, but every year Valtteri's turning away and pulling out lap times and performances that are very, very hard to beat. And so it keeps me on my toes, that's for sure.
It's only natural you're going to keep one eye on your teammate, but I was wondering, there's a lot to get excited about this season, and as a fan, I'm very excited to see what Vettel can do at Aston, what Mick Schumacher can do with Haas, what Carlos can do with Ferrari. Are you boys excited by that, or could you not care less?
Me personally, I get excited by that. You know, I grew up watching Formula 1, so I'm at the core a fan of the sport, and seeing that things maneuver, things change. Obviously, here's stayed the same in terms of the driver lineup, but also it's the first year that we've had the cars. It's the same car as the previous year. It's the first time I think that's happened in the sport. I don't know if the fans know, but we've had there's this downforce adjustment that's been made for this year, which does mean that it's going to be, the car won't be as fast, at least at the get-go.
But we'll get closer racing?
Sorry?
We'll get closer racing, perhaps?
Who knows? I don't know really why they've done that except for bringing the cars closer. Then we've got tyres that aren't as fast as the previous years, so there's a few...
You're really getting us excited about this new season, Lewis.
Well, it just adds a new element into the mix. You know, the tyres, you know, we don't know how these are going to perform, what the limitations are. And then, yeah, looking at the other teams, you've got a stronger setting, I think you'll see probably at the Red Bulls. You've got Ferraris, again, got I think a really great new fresh setting. And then you've got Sebastian taking over all his great experience and expertise. And they are ramping up. They've had they nearly won in Turkey last year. So I'm excited too.
Lewis is excited by what's going to happen elsewhere on the other teams. What about yourself, Valtteri? Are you in the I couldn't care less camp?
Yeah, probably. Couldn't care less.
To whom it may concern, I don't care.
No, I mean, of course, yeah, it's kind of nice to see what different teams are doing, what kind of cars they're bringing for this season, and yeah, of course, you can't avoid seeing how the other new teammate pairs combinations, how they go against and etc. But yeah, I try to focus on my energy really for the performance and my things and people around me.
Big picture stuff though, who do you think are Mercedes' biggest threat this year? You've got to say that Red Bull were frighteningly quick in Abu Dhabi.
My feeling, yeah, at the beginning of the year could be Red Bull if I had to guess now, but obviously, like Toto doesn't have the crystal ball that works, I don't also have it, so but it could be surprises. You just never know. There's lots of new drivers, and You know, McLaren with the Mercedes power unit, Ferrari after tricky last year. We'll see.
Back to the car. Lewis, does it ever get old seeing, you know, the car you're going to be racing in at the start of the season? Essentially, are you boys on Christmas Day right now?
It definitely doesn't get old. I mean, it's fascinating to see technology evolve. As I said, it is the same foundations of last year's car, but it's obviously got new components around it. But there's only 2 of us that get to drive this car, you know, all year long. You know, this is going to be our home. This is going to be with us, connected to us on this crazy journey that we have no idea what's up ahead of us. And yes, so it's the most exciting. It's like going to the fun fair knowing you're going to ride a roller coaster, but we get to do that all year long. So.
We're so lucky.
Yeah, very lucky.
You obviously feel the same, Valtteri. Can't wait to get this beast out of the showroom, get on the track.
Yeah, honestly, can't wait. Obviously, it's not long to go anymore. We'll start testing on 12th. So yeah, just waiting for that, and lots of preparation has been done for it, and a huge amount of hours by about 1,000 people to get this beast ready. So looking forward.
Gentlemen, absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with the season.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So that's what the drivers think. But how much of a role will this new machine and the rule changes play this year? I know a man who can tell us, the ever eloquent Mr. James Allison. James, great to see you. Loving your work. Introduce us to this beast. What do we need to know?
Well, you'll know if you look, it doesn't take much more than a glance to see that it is an old friend in many ways.
Yep.
Same monocoque as last year, same gearbox as last year, lots of the same structure underneath as last year. But look a little closer and you'll also see there's some fairly significant differences. Just a glance at the side pod there and you'll see a rather sexy looking bulge in the engine cover, which is hiding some of the work that our friends at HPP have done to squeeze more horses into that power unit for us for the year. And across the whole car, it is actually dressed in new clothes, new aerodynamic finery that we hope will make it a successful car. The bit we're not showing you...
What's going on here? You're covering something there.
The bit we're not showing you is down along the edge of the floor. That area is the area that was most affected by the new regulations, where they tried to pull performance away from the car by changing the floor regs. And down there's a bunch of aerodynamic detail that we are not quite ready to release to the world. Not because it's not there, but because we don't want our competitors to see it. We don't want them starting to try and put similar things in their wind tunnels. Just buys us a couple of weeks extra.
So essentially there's something so juicy under there, you're almost certain your competitors will steal that.
I think we all look very closely at what our competitors do. So we know our competitors will be looking, and we don't have to show it yet, so we're not.
So what has been the main area of development, would you say? Because I know you said it's very similar to last season, but what is the absolute newest item on this car?
Well, I mean, if you leave the power unit out of it for the moment, because that's HPP's responsibility, but here in Brackley, the main area, of course, has been the aerodynamic development, because most of the sort of substructure of the car was carried over from the year before. So aerodynamic development to put as much downforce on the car as possible, but elsewhere on the car, developments to try to make it so that the bits underneath can live longer, so that we don't have to replace them so often, so that in a budget cap, we can operate more efficiently.
Okay. And how has it been putting this beast together during a global pandemic? Nightmarish?
No, not nightmarish. We are lucky in many ways here. Lucky, I guess, globally as a sport, because we did take, as a sport, some good decisions about how to handle the pandemic. And that's the reason why big chunks of this car are carried over for all the teams on the grid. That was a sensible choice in a year where we knew that the supply chain would be disrupted by COVID. But then we're lucky in a second way, which is we have good facilities here, we have good IT infrastructure that's allowed us to sort of spread out both to home and in the factory, and allowed us to keep functioning in a very different way of working, but we have been able to keep that workflow going and produce this car in a decent way.
What would you say to anybody who says that 2021 will just be a carryover from 2020 for Mercedes? They'll win. What do you say to those people?
Well, it's a touching degree of faith, but it's certainly not one that we feel here. We feel, I mean, utterly excited about everything that's in front of us, but equally anxious because so much has changed in these regulations at a detailed level that do really punish the car from a performance point of view. Have we done enough to recover back that performance better than our competitors? None of us know, and yet we know we really care about it, and so the anxiety is quite high at this time of year.
Exciting times ahead, James. Always a pleasure talking to you, always educational. Thank you for your time. Let's bring in Toto Wolff for the final straight. Toto, it's the beginning of a new era for F1 with the budget cap. How important is that for the sport?
The budget cap is extremely important in my opinion because the costs were escalating over the last 10, 15 years, and it became not sustainable anymore. And in that way, we are now operating in the same financial framework, and it becomes exciting because there will not be many differences in terms of spending between the teams. And we love the challenge. We have taken it on. It is at times very painful because all your processes need to be adapted in the end to achieve more efficiency. And we found out during the process that actually efficiency means performance. And the group that has worked around the project did a fantastic job, and I believe we're in a good position to extract the most of the limited resource that is available.
I spoke to Lewis and Valtteri earlier about maybe checking out the rival teams. I wonder what your mindset is. Is there a team out there right now that's giving you sleepless nights that you think maybe they've got the measure of us this year?
We respect every competitor, and I think there is a handful of teams that can do a good job this year and for sure next year. But at the end of the day, pre-season, the gossip that you hear around car performance or power unit performance is just noise. So if you want to get entertained by gossip, then you can listen to it.
Who are watching at home right now?
You need to tell me the camera.
The crane, the jib.
The crane. Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the live feed in whatever time zone you have been. I personally did. It's fantastic to come back and finally get going. The camaraderie and the excitement and energy that this place has is something that I have great pleasure in seeing. Having Lewis and Valtteri back in here and showing you the car is certainly a great way to start. Now, I hope she's fast. We will see in Bahrain at the first race, and we will do everything to make her faster during the season. So thank you for all of your support. We will hope you cheer for us, and we'll try to pay you back with some good entertainment. Thank you.
Nicely done, Toto. Thank you very, very much, James. Thank you again. Very best of luck this season, guys. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it from Mercedes. The next time you will see them, this beast will be on track. Until then, bye-bye.